Now we're going to talk for a few minutes about the Brainstorming Solutions tool. Um, BrainLinks really gets a chance to talk with lots of different groups, and we were working with people who do training for direct support staff of individuals with disabilities, some of those with developmental disability, brain injury, cognitive impairment, and we put together this tool that we thought would be helpful for people who are not trained in doing cognitive therapy. For those of us who are not trained in this area, it might seem like a big task and something really complex. And what I think this tool does is it sort of breaks things down into something anybody can understand. If you know the person and know the information on this tool that you can fill out and talk about their strengths and their challenges and the situation, you can use this to really help them and help yourself to make goals for them and hopefully improve some of the challenges that they're having. So we're going to look at this in a little detail here. First, you're going to put the person's name and the date and the current challenge that you're working on. So maybe they're having trouble with a specific behavior. Maybe there's a specific goal or task that they'd like to meet that's causing a challenge for them and for you. And you want to write that out in the current challenge section. And then what goal of theirs will solving this problem or solving and addressing this challenge achieve? So you're not just doing this for making your job easier or the jobs of those who work with this person easier. You're doing it to help that person towards a goal that is meaningful to them. And then the directions are on here, but essentially you're going to go through these sections. This section goes into more of the cognitive domains and explains the abilities and gives you some detail for each entry: attention, memory, awareness, to give you better insight when you go back and look at this tool about that person. So you'd go into each of these sections that apply. You don't have to fill out the whole thing, and just answer the question and give a little detail about how they're doing in this area. For example, processing speed. Maybe they could really benefit from hearing something broken down. Give them time to think about it, maybe go back and repeat it. Examples like that. It doesn't have to be very long, doesn't have to be terribly detailed, but just the things that you know are already helping you or helping others in working with that person. So this next section goes into even more examples into cognitive domain. How are they with flexibility? What do they do when something changes quickly? Does it upset them, or can they roll with it when there's something that comes up? How is their planning, judgment, sort of frontal lobe skills and functions? Socially, do they understand social cues, the body language? Do they have some challenges in this area? What are you doing that helps them? And emotional state. This can be really important to keep in mind. So not just what their challenge is, what their behavior might be that you see outwardly, but what state are they in when this happens? Is it something that happens when the situation is sad? Is something that might make someone anxious? Make sure to take into consideration the environment and what's happening at the moment. Then we're going to look here at the behavior section. So what might be the trigger for that event? What has helped in the past to calm the person when there is a behavior and there is a trigger? Maybe just being really quiet, having some time for themselves. Maybe some people want to talk about it and think about a solution. Maybe some physical activity is good for some people, just to walk and kind of walk it off and get away from the situation for a little bit. So all of this is a way to better understand what's going on for the person and how you can help them. Down towards the bottom, what is their behavior attempting to communicate? So if you look at it, that all behavior is a form of communication. All behavior, good or bad, is trying to communicate somebody's needs or somebody's um, concerns or worries. Um, maybe it's a positive communication, but it's always saying something, and it's kind of our job to figure out what is that communication, and especially by asking the person to tell you specifically. But if they're not able to put it into words, or if you're kind of looking at how to figure this out, ask yourself, what is this behavior telling me? And it'll help you figure out what to do next. Um, how can I help the person communicate in a different way? This is a great place to put your ideas for solutions, and um, how to make some positive changes. And then you want to include recent changes. So is this person on a new medication? Have they had any additional illness or injury, especially head injury? Very important to note. Um, did the problem start or get worse when that change occurred? And then in this section, you would put the things that you might try as far as strategies to support that person. And those might be internal strategies that you can suggest. So that might be something like repeating a positive statement, a mantra to themselves, if you want to call it that. I can do this. I've got this. I have people. I can ask for help. Taking a deep breath or a few deep breaths. These are just simple things that a person can do for themselves that might help. Externally, it could be something like the very things that have always worked before. So think of someone, for example, before a brain injury, might use their voicemail to call and leave themselves a message to remember something, or they might send themselves an email. Or a text, and that could serve as a quick reminder of something that they know that they're going to see soon. Others might really rely on their calendar, and a group calendar if they're working with lots of other people and keeping up with other schedules. So just those basic things that were already useful externally might still be the very things that they need to use now. They just might need to rely on it a little bit more and make it even a bit more organized. So whatever system worked for them, keep that up and maybe add some more things. Another example might be coming in and immediately taking the mail and sorting it and getting it out of their hands before they move on to the next thing. Just simple strategies, but something that works for them well. So the whole idea is that you are going to share this tool, share the items that you did fill out and strategies that you've come up with the person, and ask for their input if they think you're going down the right path and they like your suggestions, and get their agreement on how you're going to use this new strategy and how you're going to approach these challenges. That's what's really important, because you might feel like you have a great idea of what's going on, and that person might completely be thinking something else, or know that that's not going to work for me. This might work for me. So they're going to be your very best source of information in making sure that you're doing things in their best interest. And then you want to go back and evaluate. Very important. Did this work? And if it did, great, maybe we'll continue with that. And if it didn't, what will we try next time? So these are some helpful suggestions for how to use the Brainstorming Solutions tool. If you'd like to find out more about it, there is also a section of the behavioral issues video that Wendy has done, and you can find out a little bit more on there. Thank you very much.